Hello everyone, welcome to today's session of Career Hub by Dr. Lydia. My name is Dr. Lydia and we are glad to have you here with us. I'm really smiling. We have a good friend here, our dear friend who is coming to talk to us about how to maneuver the career, how to handle your career during the pre-retirement and post-retirement period so that you retire in a way that dignifies you and ensures that you're still able to use your skills and experience to the betterment of the community. Welcome, Violette.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Violette Wambua. I also host a separate podcast. It's called Career Cruise. That's where we discuss the career things that Dr. Lydia has just mentioned. I'm excited to be here. I'm an entrepreneur and a marketer as well. Yes, so I wear quite a number of hats, but for today, this is what we're discussing, and welcome.
Thank you very much. I'll jump into the first question.
Yes.
So what are the key things one would think about as you're thinking of going into retirement? What are the key elements you would think about your career and plan for as you're getting into retirement?
I think one of the first things that a lot of us don't do, myself included, we don't think of retirement in advance, early in advance. I remember one time I was working at a job in my younger age. I must have been like 25, 26. And the manager at that time came in, actually the owner of the company, came in and said, I want you guys to start paying for your retirement policies. And then we're like, retirement policies? I'm just a fresh youngin at 26. Like, what am I thinking about retirement for?
Yeah.
And then, because the idea was actually, it was a town hall and the proposal was that they will cut 1,000 bob from our salaries. Hey, we were in uproar. And I'm thinking about how at the time I was causing uproar. I was 26. There's someone who was 36 and they were causing uproar with me. And I'm thinking, maybe that 36-year-old should not have been undermining with me because they were nearer to retirement than I was. But actually looking back, so the idea ended up being shut down, and of course the employer can't force it on us. And then so we just never got onto that plan. But looking back, honestly, that was like 15 years ago.
It would have made a lot of sense.
It would have made a lot of sense, and even difference right now in my financial life.
That's true.
I would not be as, my levels of stress and anxiety about retirement wouldn't be as hectic as they were now at 40. So I think everybody, from the time you start your first job or your first business or you start earning your first money, everybody should think about retirement and not just think about it, but actually do something about it. You can imagine over a 15-year period, just saving 1,000 bob per month, what that would have done. That's it. So stop think about retirement as a thing of when you arrive there, but way before you arrive there. So now start planning your career in terms of, I'm here right now, where do I want to grow? What kind of monies do I want to earn? If that's not possible in the job or in the industry I'm in, what can I do, maybe even as a side project? What can I invest? Because not everybody is business oriented. And thank God now we have all these investment vehicles that people can plug into, from banks to insurances to, there's all these policies that people, even the government is a way people buy bonds and and treasury bills. All those are ways that people can invest and then have their money double, multiply, so that they can think about retirement. I've seen people getting into chamas and investing, in big numbers, and then that way people have flats, have lands, and lots of things that bring them income, and that's money that you can plan for way in advance before retirement. However, for the sake of this discussion, we'll discuss about people who have now literally 10 years to go. So now you start feeling, I'm catching a sweat. And obviously energy levels are not as high as they were in your 20s when you start working, or even your 30s. So then I can say start then now to reduce your expenditures as much as possible. And then this extra money is put in an investment that is sound. This is where you even get the help of financial planners and investment planners because you don't know everything, and so that you don't jump onto any quail business that comes into town, God forbid, and your money gets blown in flames. So that you also don't jump into, because just recently we saw someone who was saying she's an investor and she's paying people 23% of interest per month, and you're like, what business is that? Exactly. And imagine people who are giving her 1 million, 2 million. It's crazy. It was on Facebook. People are trying to.
People lost money.
So slow is better. Slow and steady is better than quick, fast, and in a hurry, especially when it comes to money matters. And now with retirement, you need to be in good health. So that's something I know you've talked about. And of course, now in terms of your career, find out at what point are you going to retire and what does a retirement package look like. It's also the time to even think about, can you switch the estate that you live in, so then you're trying to really lower down
cost of living.
So then you have money for maintaining yourself, because we're not trying to retire and die immediately. You also want to try in dignity and also to enjoy your retirement days.
Okay, excellent. So that was from a financial perspective.
Yes.
But more from a career perspective, how can professionals ensure that they are prepared for a smooth transition from full-time employment now to retirement? What does that look like?
Yes, I'd say, and just observing my own parents, I'd say because of the skills you've been picking up and your expertise and your experience, now as you're planning for retirement, you can start to see, where can I do consulting? Where can I render my services? You're retired from active employment, but your brain is still active. So where can I use my skills? I saw someone's mom. She's now a YouTuber.
Yes, I know her. Yes,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see. And I think she started now to
and
make
she's
money.
doing well,
from her YouTube channel. I saw also someone's dad picked up photography, and so you have an old guy with a camera, and people are really happy. And you see now he's professional. He used to work at the UN, so there's just a way. The what do you call it? The way he carries himself
comes through.
It just comes through. So I think there's all these activities you figure out. I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I'm good at this. So even if I retire today, I will not wake up tomorrow and not have something to do. And also that's where even networking comes in. So then you start to get into circles that are relevant. So then even if you're not boxed in this career title, because of the friendships that you've created and the impacts that you've created, the circles you've entered into, then you find yourself quickly sliding into, hey, do you want to come and speak about this? Hey, do you want to come take photos at our events? Hey, do you want to be a guest at this, so that kind of thing.
And I like that you've spoken about photography. He was probably a finance guy at UN, but he's now doing photography.
He was actually the logistics manager.
So what happens is that when you're working, you probably have children that you're paying for and bills that you have to cater to. But now as you're getting into retirement, you realize that you have less dependence. And it's probably a time to ask yourself, what do I enjoy doing? What skills do I have that I think I would, explore and make money from? So it's a time for introspection as well, so that you start doing things that you enjoy and you can monetize.
I like it because my friend's mom now started to bake last year. And she's just your old baker now, and she's actually enjoying it. She was starting to do our Instagram page. I saw that, but not for her because she used to be HR in some I'm forgetting the company, and she used to be HR, and so of course she's made a lot of friends along the years of her life. At 62, surely you know so many people. So she's just saying, I'll bring a cake for your child's birthday, and then she gets
just
cake.
like that.
So she's doing a lot of word of mouth. And so when I was telling her about Instagram, she's like, I was told to get it. She doesn't even have a Facebook. My gosh. But so I like that. And then now you see when there's an extra bounce in her step, she's not just dragging her feet because she's retired. Now she has things to do. I think she's doing 2 cakes a week, and I think that's a good and she's still earning her pension, so it's not like
and might keep growing. Might keep growing. So the next question, what role does skill development play in career progression as one is approaching retirement?
This episode is not enough for me to say
spoken about Instagram.
How important it is to pick up skills and how quickly you start to see them playing out post-retirement. Because many times maybe you're a business owner and this is all you've ever had to do, but then you didn't pick up other skills. So once you've retired and you're no longer active in the business, you've become very bored, number one. And I think boredom is a killer, in my opinion. There's science behind that, right? So when you pick up different skills, you realize that your skills now keep your brain active, your mind is active, you feel that you're an important contributor to society, even post-retirement. And that's what I've seen. Even like my parents, they've retired, but then they still have things to do. Always doing. They're so busy, you can't just drop in on them just like that. You have to. I'm like, guys, I have to call before I come. Because they are busy. And I think it's a nice thing. But and just even for social development, your own social development, your own mental health, and even earning an income. So pick up as many skills as possible. Towards retirement, you can pick up like as many as you can. Go for those trainings that the companies offer. Don't think of them as a waste of time vis-a-vis your KPIs. Consider picking up skills as part of your personal KPI.
That's true.
Yes.
So is there a way we can evaluate the career process or set targets even as we approach retirement? Is that something that people should do,
First of all, I don't think we normally take it that seriously for us as individuals. We take the employer's goals more seriously than our own.
That's true.
And I've been
that's true.
I'm speaking of myself as a culprit. Where I have pedestalized what the employer wants me to do vis-a-vis what I need to do. Yet actually what I need to be doing should be fast, and then now my employer's goals should align with my goals. Otherwise, then what am I doing for my life? Because this job is a vehicle to take me to my goals.
That's true.
Not the other way around. So it's important that you set a goal, a target, and give yourself, this is by this timeline. The way your boss tells you timeline, even you tell yourself timeline. And I'm even speaking that because there's some things I'm doing also for myself and being very hard that, Violet, you have to do this every week. Yes. So as you keep doing that, and then you create such good satisfaction within yourself that you're confident that even if, let's say, the industry crumbles, then you're not crumbling with it because you've amassed enough knowledge for you to be able to say, okay, fine, this is not working, but I know this, can I offer this instead? And you can imagine even post-retirement, then how relevant that will be.
So what are some of the pitfalls that can plague the journey? And what are these pitfalls so that we avoid them even as we are doing this career progression thing?
I think one of the things we forget to do as individuals and as human beings is actually take a proper risk assessment and what we call, is it a SWOT analysis? See where your strengths are, your weaknesses, what are the opportunities and what are the threats. So a lot of us will get a nice plum job and then we are comfortable.
We settle.
And it's okay. In fact, I want everybody on this podcast to get a nice plum job.
Amen.
Yes, I want all of us to be plumly situated. However, it's also important to realize that we are finite, and also our resources are finite in terms of time and energy, and even the health that we enjoy. So many times there's lack of planning, like, okay, well, step by step, not goal setting. It's a pitfall, lack of goal setting. Another pitfall is lack of even succession planning. All right. And then remember, many times you don't save because if you live in Africa, you know about black tax. So we become victims of black tax, and we're always giving and giving and giving. And we give away our bricks, but we forget to build using our own bricks. So by the time we want to build, we don't have bricks to build with. Okay. Those are the three pitfalls I can think of right now. And then the other thing is just complacency, that we just talked about, where we don't pick up skills to improve ourselves and to even give ourselves an edge in the market now and beyond. So those are the things that we really should look out for. And also just the other thing we need to watch out for is that what is it called? It's a spending steep, consumption steep. So the more money you're earning, the more money you're spending. You get yes, you earn $1, spend $1, so you don't spend half of the dollar. So when you're not thinking like that, we end up now realizing that we spent so many years earning so much money, but really we almost have nothing to show for it that is concrete, and we didn't use any of it as a seed to build a harvest for us that we can enjoy post-retirement, when you're no longer getting the big check. And again, I'm not against big checks. I want all the big checks. Yeah.
So there was a TED talk I was listening to, and she actually said that she went to school to learn music. So she's an opera singer.
Fantastic.
So when she finished studying, she enjoyed music. So when she finished studying, she didn't know what she wanted to do. She knew she was going to do music, but she hadn't thought through, am I going to theater? Am I going to video production? Film? She didn't know. So one day she visits her friend at the radio station, and the friend says, come. And she says, do you want to come and host a show that talks about classical music? She's like, okay, fine. So she starts doing radio production, radio presentation, and they like her. And so they offered her another role. So now she had 2 shows.
Wow.
So at some point she was introspecting, and she was saying, what am I doing? I didn't even study journalism. I did music.
But you have the material.
So the conclusion she came up with was that instead of thinking of herself as a role, as an opera singer, she thought of herself and the work she does as a mission. So what's her calling? Her calling was to use her voice to educate and empower people. So whether it's through music or through radio shows, her mission is to use her voice. So one of the pitfalls we can fall into is to say that I'm a lawyer, and therefore when I retire, I am bound to be in the legal space. No. You can be a lawyer who uses music to spread the legal. I don't know. You can. So don't be tied by your title.
I love that. That is such a fresh perspective. Because a lot of us, we are boxed into. You're
boxed into a space,
or painted into a corner.
Yes.
All right. Good. I could go home with that information. Thank you. I've learned something new today.
So the next question is, how can you leverage your experience and expertise to create new opportunities for yourself?
Yes, I've seen this in motion, and I'm really happy to report on it. I've seen there's a lady who worked at the airline industry for very long. She was working at KQ specifically, and she did retire. It was such a nice, smooth transition for her. But what I noticed the other day when I caught up with her daughters is that their mom now offers etiquette classes and personal branding classes. Because remember, working as an in-flight attendant, there's a way they look.
There's a way they speak. Are.
So it was very good for me to see that, join those dots and see that working together. And she's offering etiquette classes, especially to young men and women who are just turning 18 out of high school, sort of like a finishing school scenario. It's not very big because it's like 2 years now, but the fact that parents are trusting her with their children, like people are being taught how to use knives and forks. This is what you put here. This is a kind of glass for this, the glass for water, glass for wine, glass for champagne even. This is where you put your napkin, and when you're talking, this is what you do. This is how you talk during lunch. So it's really interesting to see. And then even comportment and dress and whatever, like this is what you wear if you're going to see this person. If you're been invited for a day at Polo, this is what you wear. And all the world exposure, because she really did.
She traveled.
She did a lot of destinations during her career. And remember, this is someone who became a flight attendant when she was 21, and she was retiring a little over 60. So you can imagine. Of course, she did the in-flight and ground, and it's amazing to see that you can actually use and make an opportunity for yourself. Because I didn't think that would lead to finishing school, but for me to see that,
it makes sense.
I actually love watching retirees because I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from them and encouragement as well. Yes.
So this is an interesting one. So what are the effective strategies for maintaining professional engagement, and how do you maintain your identity, your professional identity post-retirement? I've spoken to a few of my friends, and you ask them, what were you? And she said she was a big HR person in some firm. And then you ask, what are you doing now? And you can hear the birds chirping, because then it didn't flow. There was no outflow. There was no exit plan. So how do you ensure that you still maintain some sort of identity or relevance,
Okay, first of all, I think maintaining your identity and relevance, as you've spoken, is a factor of two things. One, the networks that you cultivated and the friendships that you cultivated during your active career years. I also think it's a factor of the impact that you've created. So were you involved in mentorship, or involved in career counseling, or involved in raising up others during your time? Because many times, I'm on the hustle, I'm trying to get my big bucks, so it's easy for me to forget others and not even to look who is behind me, and not to give, because I don't have time.
It's me, I'm on the move.
I'm on the move.
Yeah.
So because when you're on the move, you'll get to the end of your line as you're moving, and that's fine. But then now you've not come with anybody
else.
Yeah, so it's easy to be quote unquote forgotten. And when you step off the rails, and forget, not others are taking over your space, and nobody's thinking about you, because also you never thought about others. Yeah, so how you can do that is, please, even if it's a church and people are saying we need to speak to the youth, volunteer yourself. You don't have to be the best speaker, but let people know you as a doctor. There are people who I don't even know are doctors. Can you imagine? It's so crazy. And for me, how I just revere doctors, I feel like if I have a doctor near me, I know I won't die. And I love having lawyers near me. I know I'll get out of anything.
You can commit any sin.
Yes. I'll commit a crime. And even engineers, and these are like, especially for me, I actually get stressed a little bit, because these are women I'm talking about. It would be so amazing to see women going to give a career talk, and you say, yeah, I'm an engineer. It just changes then atmosphere moves.
Yeah.
When a woman says, yeah, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a lawyer, I do this, I do the other, like people even lean forward. And then now you spend your years never giving people the opportunity to actually lean forward.
Yeah.
So even when you do retire, you're just any other church member, and I'm using church as an example of a community, or you're just any other person in the estate. Yet you'd have the neighborhood, the children in the neighborhood who are wondering what to do with their lives, they'd have sat at your feet and learned,
True.
And so that lack of giving in terms of your time for mentorship, for counseling, even just to handhold someone, to set them off on their career, it doesn't have to pay you in that time, but you can imagine what it'll do for you, because this person will be like, there's a lawyer who helped me, and that's you they're thinking about.
That's true.
And you can imagine, even, yes, you've retired, but your brains are still active. People will still come and consult with you, and even pay you something, because they're like, we have this case, we don't know what to do, what do you think? And that's now where you can pour in all the precedences, all the things you've seen in the courtroom maybe, and you still keep active in that sense. But I really do believe in networking and mentorship to keep your name relevant, even post
retirement.
Yeah, post the times of your suits and ties.
Yeah, that's true. And I like that you spoke about this lady this lady who retired and started a YouTube channel.
Yes,
she actually teaches people how to farm.
I like that you and I both know her.
She's written a book.
Yes,
she's written a book. She swims, and she shows people how to exercise.
Yes, in their 60s.
And so what that does is that it keeps her mentally engaged.
Yes.
So she's gonna stay young and for a longer time and vibrant.
Yeah.
So that's very important. And I see this also in white people. They retire intentionally. And so even as they're working, they're saving. And when they retire, they come and explore Africa, and they're traveling up and down. And I think it's something we can also borrow as Africans, that when you retire, if you're interested, explore the world. If you're interested, pick up a skill, rebrand yourself, revitalize yourself.
Because it doesn't go with the grain of what we like to do.
Yes.
But I've seen, so I have an in-law whose parents, they're never home on Christmas. I'm like, my guy, where are your parents? Oh, this Christmas, they should be in Malawi somewhere.
Excellent.
The couple, please, they are as black as we are.
Excellent.
But they're not hosting Christmas lunches.
Yeah.
Maybe at the time of the year.
They're out.
But for Christmas, they are gone.
So build such traditions,
Yes.
Yeah. So what types of post-retirement careers or activities may be fulfilling for retirees seeking to stay active? So for those ones, which is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first thing people go to is farming. And I used to think it's a lame activity. But more and more, it's like, after all those years of being cooped up in the office and business world,
Nature
now
is beautiful.
touching soil, touching grass, there's just something there. Because I've even seen my folks, they're very
They're glowing.
Yes, they are glowing a bit differently than when their faces used to be in front of computers all the time. So farming is something someone can take up. There's a neighbor of ours, of course, she doesn't have a big land, but she's always in her 2 herbs, rosemary, whatever. She's doing small things. I've also seen, of course, there's a swimming thing that we saw with our mutual
Our friend.
yes. And then the other thing I've seen someone, there's a lady who, I don't know her very well, but she wrote a book and she's I think she's also writing now her second one.
Excellent.
Yeah. So there's all these things people are doing. And of course, in terms of career, I remember my dad being invited to be a guest lecturer at KU at some point to deliver some talk. And I was like, this is nice. And of course, they're very happy to say, I mean, do their notes, you know, see them being very, proofread this for me. So it's actually good to see. And all these things, some of them pay, some of them don't pay. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to feed your soul. Because now when your soul is well fed and nourished, then you're still an active member of society. So you're not retiring to stay in the back benches, but you're just retiring from the hustle and bustle, but you're still very important, because then even when the younger children come around you, you're an abattoir of wisdom for them. So so I think
get a personal mission and move with it, you know?
Yes. And you know, I also saw that my dad now is doing even chaplaincy. He might actually get into it a bit more seriously, and I'd be happy to see that happening.
So my next question and my last question would be, at which point do we start all these processes? When is the ideal time?
I think, I promise you, start with the end in mind. Like, I wish if I could go back in time, I'd definitely be that one. Pay 1,000 bob a month as a retirement policy. But even then, I think the moment the day you think about the word retirement or it's mentioned anywhere around you is the best time.
True.
Because then none of us can go back into time. But where you are is where you are, and that's where you should start. Think of what can I do, and then start to take the steps slowly. Some steps will take them in a big way, and that's fantastic. But you should really be working with the end in mind at any one point. And because, you know, the sad part is that not everyone will get to the 65 retirement age. Then what happens if you're forced to retire earlier than that? You know, so what will happen to you? So really, the day you hear anybody, even if you read it in a newspaper, the word retirement, that should be your cue to start thinking about what you can do and how you can make your life in a way that if you find yourself you're not working actively and you're not earning that big check consistently, then what does your life look like? And you see, all of us, our paths are different, and so you should not have any shame. You should actually drop peer pressure, because I feel peer pressure is a big part. I can tell you that even now for me, there are times I feel the pressure and I have to like really block my ears, because where everybody's going is not where I want to go. And even if I was to take up those speeds, I may not sustain them. So then I'll be making losses to impress others, and then my reality is not matching with the image that I'm putting out there.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the article I was reading was saying, remove the word retirement. And you have alluded to that. And you're saying, we all think that we'll all stay in employment. What happens to you when you lose your job? And so all these principles come in, because at that point you have to think about career change. You have to think about the money that you've invested to, you know, to hold you for that period of time when you're not working. So those are skills that we need to start working on, even beyond, before we start getting into retirement.
There's a friend of mine who I really admire. So she just told me, Violette, I can't even sell a tomato. I can't do business. I can't get into consultancy. She just says it's not for her. And so for her, and I just told her, you know, I'm going to copy your model and act like I can't do anything, just like you. And so for her, when she gets her money, she has cut down everything into bite size, that 40% of all her earnings go into investment. 40%. You know how strict that is. To the point that, and I asked her, do you know how to give to charity? She's like, I have a small kitty, and if you come and I've already given that out, please just come next month. Yes, I'm not going to stretch, not going to dip into this 40% to give. And she's very strict about it. to the point that yes, you'll see her out every now and then, but if you see her out, no, it was planned
It is
for.
within her means.
If you see her buying a soda, it is planned for.
I'm telling you.
If you see her in a nice dress, just know she saved for that dress.
Yeah.
Like, she just didn't go and say, I like tick.
Perhaps.
She doesn't do that. And yet she's very wealthy. She's doing very well for herself. It's so, I don't know, because for us, we imagine that wealthy people, they just drop a bag anytime. No, if you see her with a nice Chanel purse, just know if that Chanel was planned for. So it's very stringent and very strict, but I can see where she's going with that, and I definitely know she's definitely going to retire very comfortably. She's fortunately in her 40s, and God willing that she stays to because her company people start retiring at 65.
So she has 25 more years.
Yes. So she has 25 more years, and you can imagine with that strictness, and this strictness is not from the other day. She's been strict like that since the time she was 28. And I'm like, where were you getting infected that you didn't carry me to get the same infection?
You missed it.
So I'm being infected by proxy.
Yeah.
So I can see that trajectory, and she's done very well. She's invested. She's been able to do things with all the monies that she's been getting out of the interests that she's been getting out of her investments. So it's a big deal, and I think we should all be strict with ourselves.
That's true.
So then we know, because at the end of the day, retirement is not a community. This life is not a community project. Retirement is not a community.
Solo.
You run solo, but we'll be seeing each other. Hi, but where your shoe has.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So I think what we've learned from this is start early.
Yeah.
Be intentional, and then don't wait for last minute. And along the journey, pick up new skills. Pick up on what you think you might enjoy to do.
And relevant friends.
And relevant friends, my friend. Create a community of relevant people around you. Any parting shots?
First of all, for me, I look forward to retirement. I don't think it's a dirty word, and I think we should really, not sanitize, but we should really take away the frailty and the worn-outness from the word retirement. I think it's an opportunity to have another life beyond the 8 to 5 grand. It's an opportunity to enjoy life with less burdens of children, all the small things that really hamper us and deny us of our energy and life. I think it's also a chance to, enjoy a long life as God grants it, and it should be actually embraced and not be shied away from, so I wish you well in your retirement planning. Join me also in the journey as well, because I'm thinking about retirement more and more every single day.
And remember, there are people who wait until retirement age to retire. There are those who retire early. Intentionally retire early.
Those are our stars.
Yes. So for all types of retirement, whether early or late, please do the things we have spoken about. Enjoy the journey, and let us age with grace. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us. See you next time. Leave a comment, leave a question. Let's keep interacting. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.